Warner Brothers.
No.
Speaking of, having your eggs all in one basket, Superman is the character that ever since the beginning of this. You can go back if you've been following us and listening to our show for as long as you probably have. We've talked about this over and over again, how pivotal Superman is for the DCU and for the future of that IP. Because again, if it don't work out, even if it does work out, I still say Zaslav is going to sell. But Brian, tell us how important Superman is for WB.
Yeah. Well, we did, I'll leave out the stuff we already discussed. We went through in our previous recent DC show, which you should check out, about sort of this weird event that they did to update Chapter 1, which was mostly delays and almost like we're shuttering some of these or figuring things out. It was very odd, right? And we speculated that money was at the core of the issue, and we talked about some of these other movies not in DC that were high budget, had big stars or big directors that like just kind of made no sense. And since then, we've actually gotten a little bit of confirmation because Mickey 17 was one of those movies. Bong Joon-ho, the director, Robert Pattinson, the star. It's now out. Opening weekend was only about 43 million globally. So that's a north of $100 million movie that needs to make north of $200 million globally and is not going to get anywhere near that. And is actually going to streaming, I believe, next week already. So, but this article on Puck News that took that idea and went deeper on it was mentioned that there are a lot of rumors that Mike and Pam, as in Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi, may be out as the movie heads at Warner's, even though that's been denied. But there was the rumor is they would be out and none other than Peter Safran would be shifted over to take their job, which obviously would directly affect the DC operation because he's sort of the production arm of James Gunn's creative. So now you've got a real Gunn needs a partner. He can't do this on his own. So if Safran's going to run the whole movie division, who's really helping supervise DC? And then the article goes on to say that not only is Superman the make or break film for the DC universe, it is the make or break film for the entire studio with, quote, genuine fear the studio goes the way of Fox if the movie does not succeed. Wow. Doesn't say what success is, but it's definitely a queasy feeling because as you and I have discussed many times, like this is not a cheap film. This is also not a film where you can say $1 billion is, a layup. Like, if this movie is a solid success and, critically well regarded, but makes like 750, like I assume that's good enough. But this makes it sound like the studio needs more than that to cover up for the failures they've had and the checks they've written elsewhere, which is kind of what we talked about last time.
750 is the hope for a better future. $1 billion is a go. is you know how you go to those Brazilian places that they keep serving you meat? If you want more, you got to turn it to green.
The disc is on black or whatever. Yeah.
Yo, if it's $1 billion, a go. If it's 750, you're sort of just waiting and seeing what the possibilities are rather than completely throwing your hands up in the air and be like, I'm done with it. But if it's like 400, 300 and it's poorly reviewed, it's over. It's over.
It's over.
I don't want to hear anything else.
It's over. Yeah, I think the only at that point, at that point, Supergirl would happen because they're shooting it right now, and the Batman Part 2 will happen because it's Elseworlds. Nothing else will happen. Oh, the TV. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. The TV division will happen. Right? HBO will happen. Lanterns will happen because that's on the TV side. But movie-wise, nothing else will happen.
But I think at that point, we are reverting back to the old ways the WB handled superhero IP, right? And not building this universe because this doesn't seem to be something, I guess, not to say that the people don't want it. We just want it done well. We want it done right. We want to get to that place. We don't want to just be taken to that place immediately and us trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
I tend to agree with this article. When you look at how long the Zaslav tenure has gone, if this movie is not successful, the studio will not survive. Like not as an independent entity. Like I do agree with that idea. They are running out of time, and they're running out of time quickly. And even if Superman does $1 billion, that is not everything. That is not Superman saving the world. That is Superman. He's holding it up, but he's struggling. He needs help. Like that's just buys them time. It buys them time. I got to be honest. It's one of the things that makes the whole Matt Reeves situation, I would bet, infuriating for David Zaslav, because that is a guaranteed moneymaker that he's having to wait 2 and 3 years longer than he anticipated for.
Yes. I can see that. I can see Zaslav going crazy. I'm pretty sure it was Zaslav's idea about bringing in Pattinson's into the Justice League, into the DCU.
But Zaslav's got to own this, right? He's the one who put Mike and Pam in charge. He's the one who greenlit the checks for Black Adam. And like at the end of the day, like you can say the people, you can start firing your coordinators, but the buck stops with you, man. Like at the end of the day, like you're the one who, you're a Discovery guy, you're a reality TV guy. Like, this company still reflects your image and your idea. Like they don't get to write $100 million, $150 million checks for some of these art house movies unless you think it's okay. So It's not like it's at the end of the day, he's still the CEO. He's the captain of the ship. But I think the vultures are circling. I think the phones are already ringing. He's just not picking up the call yet. And I think the question is going to become, if we get to that stage, is this thing saleable in its entirety, or are people going to just try to chop it up? They're going to say, like, I just want DC. Like, I just want the reality TV. I don't want the movie house. Like, I think that's really the question you start to wonder about. I guarantee you Amazon is going to be tough to beat for DC. Oh, they have already got the hooks in there. I'm telling you, that is like the back hook is in there already.
They are the one studio that is streamer that's looking to compete really for real with Netflix,
but Netflix wants to go theater. Netflix is not willing to commit theater like full bore. Amazon is. That's why DC to them matters.
I think Netflix, if they want to be innovative, they should build out their own theaters and make it a Netflix experience.
That's what I said.
Going to the movies.
That's what I said. You and I had this talk during the pandemic. They should be building theaters, and honestly, they should be like binging their shows on the big screen in the theater. Like some people wouldn't go watch Stranger Things season 5. They show up for a theater. Come on now.
Make it. You got to make those things events, yo. Make it.
Re-release Daredevil season 1 and put it in a Netflix theater. Netflix has made shows much bigger than they were. Suits, like think about that. Suits LA exists because Netflix syndicated it. Like,
yeah.
I'm with you. Their aversion to this, it's baffling. I get it. They don't have the resources that Amazon and Apple do, but I think they'd make money on this.
Yeah. Let me ask you this before we move on to Fillion. If Zaslav came to James Gunn, or he made a deal with, let's say, Amazon, that it included James Gunn in the deal. Like you would have to take, like I'm selling DCIP, but you'd have to bring in James Gunn as well so that he can continue. Because let's say, and I'm saying this with respect to, let's say Superman is dope.
Okay.
And it makes a lot of money. Let's say it gives the 750, right? We're not going to get $1 billion on Supergirl.
No.
But let's say that it provides a little bit of hope of good, like it provides them a little bit of hope for the next person or whomever wants to possibly purchase it, saying that we're on a good track here, but we want to sell it anyway. Would James Gunn be a part of that deal? I wouldn't say James Gunn wouldn't want to be a part of that deal. I mean, I don't see him not wanting to be the guy to continue creating this world.
I'm going to say odds are no. I think Amazon will want to choose its own people, but I don't think if Superman's great, I don't know that James Gunn would be summarily ruled out as a candidate, but I think he'd have to reapply for the job. I don't think he would just get the job.
No.
I don't, because I think Amazon is going to want to structure it the way they want to structure it. And so they're like, we're buying the IP. We're not buying personnel. Like they just went through this with the Bond situation, with a situation where they had less control, right? So it's like they want to be able to run this how they want to run it. And
but they would
maybe Gunn's a good fit, maybe he's not.
But they're going to have to restart all over again, wouldn't they?
Of course. Yeah. They don't have to. Like, if Superman's a massive success, they could also just say, James Gunn, you're the director and writer of the Superman franchise. You're just not the head of our DC studio. And I don't know that James Gunn would say no to that.
I don't know. I don't know if he would say yes, because instead of running the studio or being a Kevin Feige, now I'm just a director, back to what I used to do. But I'm doing it with characters, obviously, that I love and everything like that. But I was at one point in control of all of it. Now I'm not. Do I want to continue just being a director for this sort of IP, or do I just want to continue making my own movies?
Well, then I could see a scenario where Amazon would simply just replace the director, but then the next Superman movie would be a continuation of this. They could do that. I mean, they could just say this is Superman 2 with David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan and Nicholas Hoult, who, by the way, rumors are he's amazing. That's the one thing I have heard, is that he apparently is really good as Lex.
That's good.
But yeah, so you could see that. That's not unprecedented, you know. I mean, things were going well for Marvel, and they still said Joe Johnston is the right guy for the period piece Captain America. He's not the right guy for the sequel. In come the Russos, right? That wasn't even a acrimonious situation. They just changed directors by design. I just think Amazon's going to, they're going to pay that much. They're going to have control. They're going to pick their people. They're going to do it their way. They're not going to be told. Because, I mean, like, in that negotiation, who's going to have the leverage? It's not going to be David Zaslav.
Fillion talks Guy Gardner. What did he say?
I don't know. I mean, this character doesn't sound like it's going to be... I think he's responding a little bit because the character looks ridiculous, and he's kind of saying that's the point. Yeah. So he said the character is a jerk, and what's important to know is you don't have to be good to be a Green Lantern. You just have to be fearless. So my Guy Gardner is fearless. He's just not very good. He's not nice, which is very freeing as an actor, because you just think to yourself, what's the most selfish, self-serving thing I can do in this moment? And that's the answer. That's what you do. If he has a superpower, it might be overconfidence, being that he thinks he could take on Superman, and he can't, end quote. I mean, it definitely sounds like a role Nathan Fillion could play very well. I just don't know if it's one that we're going to love when we see it on screen, or if we're going to feel like it's a distraction to the main event.
I'm already aware of who, and I'm sure most people out there who are fans of the lore of DC and its characters are familiar with Guy Gardner. So far, we've gotten a look at him in the trailers, and again, he's very comic book accurate. There's so much to see. We've seen very little. There hasn't been that second boost of excitement that you would get from a second trailer, because
I think we have a date for it.
For a trailer?
Yes.
When? April?
Didn't get a lot of press, but April 18th is Superman Day.
Why and April 18th?
It's like, how Batman Day is in the fall. There's always like Global Batman Day every fall, and they put the movies back in the theaters. So Global Superman Day is April 18th.
Okay.
There was a tweet sent out by the official DC channel, kind of advertising like a lot of, like on April 18th, they would do a retrospective and some cool stuff to honor the character. But at the end, it just said, I wonder what else might drop, ? Trailer number 2. That's it.
The lack of excitement about that, Brian, is telling to me.
You're right. I haven't seen a single news story about it. I saw the tweet, but I didn't see anyone be like, new trailer coming April 18th.
What we've gotten after the trailer has been whatever. So any news that you give us is whatever. And hopefully this trailer is something and not more of nothing.
My fear is that it's going to show too much for the reason you just said. It does feel like they've lost the initiative a little bit on this. And because they have, And because we just talked about the desperation involved to get people to the theater, my fear is you're going to see a lot in this trailer. Like, it might be a 3-minute type of deal, and you're like, a lot of the set pieces, a lot of the stuff is going to be shown to you. That would scare me, just given where we're at. The little stuff we've been hearing, like I told you, I've been hearing that the buzz that Nicolas Hoult is great, like a really good Lex Luthor. Been hearing also that like there's a lot of cameos that have not gotten reported, like notable Superman villains that are just like in and out. And then there's the one which is Jor-El. That's been the big one that sort of got people's attention, that there's supposedly a real heavy hitting A-lister as Jor-El in a small capacity in this film. And the leading rumor right now is that Tom Cruise is that person.
Interesting. I'm not mad at that. I mean, hey, we got, who is Jor-El? The big name, the big dogs. We got
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando. Who else was Jor-El?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. So we expect a big name. Perhaps not Tom Cruise, because he's never been associated really with superhero type film.
Keep trying.
The fact that, yeah,
Iron Man, right? They keep trying. So, well, supposedly that was right. Well, that's because they did talk to him. That was not like in the rise of the MCU. Like, that was a real conversation. It happened. Like there was a chance at one point, but
thank God they didn't.
Yeah, I agree. Why? Because then we'd have Tom Cruise as Doom today. if you play that out.
We probably would have gotten a recast almost immediately.
Do you want to see him as Jor-El? Does he strike you as Jor-El?
Tom Cruise, he is a willing, if he puts it, the thing is about Tom Cruise, if he puts his name to it, I think you're going to get his best, or at least try to get his best. Even he's done a lot of great movies, obviously, and some haven't been that great, but I think him as a performer, I think he gives his best, and I think I'm fine with it being him being Jor-El. I'm curious to see what this Jor-El looks like. I'll be fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm having a tough time. Like, I mean, I guess you can achieve anything with effects and vocal effects, but I'm not hearing Jor-El in the Tom Cruise voice, I guess. So I don't know. When they got on this, then I started thinking about like, okay, we don't even know what this style of Jor-El looks like, right? We don't know what Russell Crowe's was like a general, right? More like a wartime figure. Like Marlon Brando's was more like an Olympian, like Zeus. That was kind of that style. So I don't know what they're going for here. There's a part of me that thinks it would be sort of in a nod to fandom in a cheeky sort of way. Like, what about having Nicolas Cage do it, right? He's the ultimate Superman fan who never got to be Superman. Like, could you dress him up and have him be an iteration of Jor-El?
It's hard to take him seriously, though.
I get you. But I'm saying you want someone who will give you their best, because this is the character that literally he named his son. Didn't he name his son Kal-El? I think he did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he has a son named Cal-El. Yeah. So
knowing that, who knows what kind of performance you get?
That's what I mean. I don't know. So, and this is not Jor-El in the sense of Brando's character was a real driving force of the storyline. Russell Crowe's character was a real driving force of the storyline. Just Jor-El sounds more like a very small part. So it allows you to kind of maybe have more latitude. But anyway, so that was also in the rumor mill. But I'm with you. April 18th sounds like it's a date we're going to have to circle and maybe do an immediate reaction and see if they can get the buzz going again.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of the latest at WB.